Hello, beautiful people. It is Josefina Bashout. With my next video, I'm going to talk to you all about lifestyle design and lifestyle change. The steps that I took in order to create a spiritual practice and a self-care worship practice that helped become the backbone of my healing practice 9 years ago when I was on my journey of curing myself from HPV and pre-cervical cancer CIN 2 and 3 and discovered that I was my own greatest healer. If you haven't been watching along, I invite you to go back and watch my previous videos. I've been storytelling my journey of leaving a world of celebrity and prestige and entering into my own path of self-discovery, empowerment, and ultimately using my greatest wounding as my greatest gift and discovering this whole new life path. So in today's video, what I'm going to talk about is how I've developed a self-care spiritual practice, a practice of worship that helped me really set the tone, that gave me a new mental mindset and framework, that gave me a sense of faith, a connection of faith. And the way that I had done this was meditation. Now, I'm not sure if any of you who are watching have a very strong, solid foundation practice in meditation. Today, 9 years, I do. But 9 years ago when I started, I didn't. I couldn't even meditate for a minute, let alone 5 minutes. So my practice consisted of really carving out the time and space for a 5-minute meditation practice. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, when my mind was so busy and I would wake up and go to sleep crying and in sadness, with angst, with anxiety, with worry about what my future would be like and if these treatments were going to work or not work, as well as what my relationship situation and status was. I was carrying a lot of stress and a lot of cortisol going through my body. And so to stop my brain from thinking negative thoughts or following these thoughts for 5 minutes was an extreme challenge for me. So that's why I really listened to meditation music. I started practicing in nature. I started listening to Deepak Chopra. And then I started building up my practice. And then I became, I wouldn't say master, but I became pretty darn good at hitting the 5-minute mark. Then from that moment, I was able to build upon a deeper practice. So what I want to do is just share with you a little bit about how you can develop your own at-home spiritual practice and worship practice. Now, for me, again, it started with a 5-minute meditation practice. This can be a silent meditation practice or one where you put on binaural beats. Binaural beats or theta beats. Now, this changes your frequency, your vibrational frequency and your attunement to where it actually slows down your wavelengths of your brain. So you're able to get back into a space of calmness, of low stress, where it drops your thinking frequencies, it drops the states of waves. Now you can do tons of research on it. In this video, I'm not gonna go into detail about that because what I am sharing is how to develop a practice. So finding whatever type of meditation practice works for you. It could even be chanting or silently saying an affirmation of, I am healthy, I am holy, I am safe. I am whole, I am enough, I am loved. I am enough, I am enough, I am enough. I am light, I am light, I am light. I am healthy, I am whole, I am healthy. Whatever it is that you want to bring into your body, into your affirmation, to reaffirm and to bring a sense of calmness and a sense of peace, there's an invitation there. Or if you want to listen to some meditation music, some frequency music, there's an app called Headspace, which is really great for that. There's also Insight Timer, which is another great app, and you can actually just put that on to 5 minutes, and you can choose harmonious music or no music, and then that way you can let your mind go and don't have to worry about the 5-minute marker. That way it'll just chime when you're done. What I also developed in my spiritual practice was a 5-minute mirror work practice. Now this has been, till this day, hands down, a game changer in my spiritual and self-care practice. The reason why is because I've got a mirror in my car. There's a mirror in every bathroom and restaurant, anywhere I go to. And when I would work in the mirror, it would be looking really deeply in my own eyes and starting with forgiveness. Now, it seems like starting with forgiveness would be a simple task. Oh, I forgive myself. I love you and I forgive you. But there's something that really profoundly happened in that experience when I showed up to myself and I looked in the mirror. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about the drama of looking in the mirror. But for the sake of this video, I just want to share again the power of mirror work and incorporating that into a self-care practices. Because when you look eye to eye with yourself, with your soul, with your higher self in the mirror, something occurs physiologically in the body. It creates an emotional response where you can't get away from yourself. And you'll notice where you contract, where you're having negative thoughts, and where you're holding on to tension in the body, or where emotions are stuck. So developing a 5-minute practice was truly something that was extremely beneficial. And I would look in the mirror, and I would look in both of my eyes, and I would say, I am above and below no one. I am immune to criticism. I love and forgive you. And then I would say my name. I love and forgive you, Josie or Josefina. And I would fluctuate back and forth because different times that I would say my name would bring up different amounts of emotions. I am proud of you. You are doing the best that you can. Anything that you need to say to yourself in the mirror in the morning to give yourself a pep talk, to give yourself affirmation, to give yourself courage. Imagine speaking to your most beloved loved one, knowing that they're going through a really, really challenging and hard time. What would you say to them that you knew that they needed to hear in order for them to rise to the occasion of the day, to the challenges, to the victories, to the movement of the day? So then I would go through 5 minutes of mirror work. Then what I would do is I would do 5 minutes of journaling. And I would just do a free form writing and dump out anything and everything that was present in my mind. So this was an opportunity for me to do a dump of all of the worries and the fears. So in my mirror work, if I was saying these things to me, and yet in the back of my mind, there was a little voice saying, I don't believe you, this is not real, this isn't worthy, this isn't happening, this is bullshit. Whatever the voice is that was in there, or whether it was sadness, I'm really sad that this is happening, I can't believe this is occurring, I want to forgive myself. So whatever that emotion was present, I would use the 5 minutes of freeform writing to allow it to have a voice. The reason why that was so impactful was because instead of stuffing it down and pretending in the mirror like I'm believing what I'm saying, I gave space for it to come alive. And when I gave space for it to come alive and voice, it created an opening within my body, and it created an opening in the emotional body as well as the mental body that freed up the energy so it could no longer be stored in my cells to fuel and feed the cancerous cells. Now, this is really a key touchstone and important factor here, because in my previous videos, I mentioned that unprocessed emotions manifest on a cellular level, so the issues are stored in the tissues. And if I don't allow, or we don't allow the emotions to have a voice and to come up as we're moving through this healing journey, we're going to stay in the same cycle of making ourselves sick. So it's really dealing with the root issue as well as any lingering emotional unprocessed issues that we are still holding on in order to really be in service to our well-being. So free-formed writing, just allowing whatever is present in your mind to come up. Think about it as a mind dump. I'm just dumping out anything that I'm thinking about. It doesn't have to make any sense at all. In fact, it's probably not going to make sense. And you don't need to read it, and you don't need to reread it. The purpose is to just give it space and to let it breathe and to have it go somewhere that is outside of your physical form. When the 5 minutes is over, you're going to take your paper. You're not going to reread it, because imagine you just had verbal diarrhea and then you went back and then you ate your diarrhea. Who would do that? No one would do that. So your free-form writing is exactly the same way. Don't do it. Don't reread it. Don't relook at it. None of those things. It is meant to just clear you on an emotional, an energetic, and a mental level, as well as a physiological level, because you are manually writing this out by hand. So you are literally working on multiple levels to clear this. Then you're going to burn it or shred it. And then you're going to wash your hands. And then the reason why we're washing our hands is because you're cutting through and you're breaking the energy. So as you were writing, there was energy that was really highly charged and that was really present. Through cold water, it breaks the line and the connection of the energy. So then you can really be done with it out of your system. And then what I would do is I'd play some inspirational music, maybe some mantras, and then I'd go on with my day. So that is the power of a spiritual practice. And that was a practice that really worked well for me. So I want to invite you to see, how do you want to set yourself up for a new lifestyle design? With that practice, I was able to show up to work and to the doctor's office more calm, more connected to my intuition, to be able to discern what are the right steps of action that I'm needing to take right now in regards to my treatment, to the next step of my treatment, as well as keeping a clear head so I was able to efficiently still do my job without the added worry, fear, and stress. I've designed my life since then to be focused around that morning ritual and practice. And now it's developed into so much more. It now is turned into a 2-hour morning practice. Now, it's a long way to go, but again, I've been practicing now for 9 years. And now my practice consists of movement, of dance, and of breath work. So you have an invitation to decide whether you are an advanced practitioner of meditation or if you're just starting out. How do you want to feel, and what are some things that you want to incorporate for your own self-care practice that can become the backbone and your sanctuary, your place of haven, where you can go each and every morning to find your own serenity, your own motivation and inspiration? And how can you design your lifestyle to be supportive of expanding that feeling every day in everything that you do?